You are listening to the IndyCar Report with Elijah Poe every Thursday on the Central Indiana Sports Report. Joining Elijah and me, Greg Bengelt, is Tipton Tribune and Elwood Call Leader Sports Editor Michelle Garmon. To look back on St. Petersburg, look ahead to Phoenix, and talk about all the news coming out of IndyCar. Elijah will be on my new daily show, Greg and His Friends Talk Sports, on Saturday to talk about Friday's qualifying and preview Saturday's race. If we can work it out, we might hold off Friday's Greg and His Friends Talk Sports podcast until after qualifying so we can break that down on Friday's show. Not sure if we'll be able to do that. Also, Elijah and Michelle maybe, and maybe some others will be back Saturday night after the race at Phoenix to react to the first oval of the year. Thanks so much for joining us.
Welcome to the Central Indiana Sports Report. I am Elijah Poe, your IndyCar host, alongside today with Greg Bengelt and Michelle Garmon, and we're here to talk about last week's race of St. Pete, and we're also previewing Phoenix here this weekend. Another big week for IndyCar, but there's still one man on top. His name is Alex Palou, as always.
Well, thank you so much, Elijah. And Michelle is sitting here next to me at stage 20. Alex Palou. It's just, when we did our season preview, it was Palou or the field was the question. I took the field and I probably picked wrong. What do you think, Elijah?
I think that could be right. He looked so dominant at St. Pete. Just a perfect strategy with the overcut. Really didn't run into any problem, was running in clean air all day and was able to win by over just 12 seconds. It's unbelievable running, and it's going to be interesting, especially to see him on a short oval here in Phoenix this weekend.
Michelle, if his pit crew hadn't got him out in front, how certain are you he would have passed everyone to win that race?
Here's the thing. I don't know if he would have passed. I think he's going to pass everyone. His crew gets him out front because they're so exceptionally fast at their pit stops. But not only are they fast, let's face it, he has to be really good on entry and exit too. And when he's out there creating enough time, narrowing the gap or spacing out the gap to maintain the lead or gain on the leader in pit stops, they're probably the best crew at doing that, at maintaining the lead and working their way to the front on pit stops, just on the stops alone. Dixon's crew does it on strategy a lot of times, but Chip Ganassi Racing,
Palou does it on strategy a lot too.
Yes, but
he did that a lot last year.
Yes, but his crew is so good at making up just the time in the pits.
They are. Elijah, Ganassi, whether it's Palou or Dixon, it is an advantage. And when you combine the best driver in the world with the best team, it seems like right now, at least in the world, good things are going to happen.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You look at the Ganassi organization as a whole, have been right there step in step with Team Penske for pretty much all of time in recent IndyCar memory. I think it's fair to say they are ahead. You look at what they've done with Alex Palou winning his 4th championship here last year. And
6 with Scott Dixon.
Yeah, 6 with Scott Dixon. When you look at premier organizations in IndyCar, you'd be remiss not to mention Chip Ganassi and all he's done for the series. Just incredible drivers, incredible pit crews, great strategists, great engineers. It's greatness throughout that organization.
Oh, well, hold on. Michelle, you think Penske or Ganassi right now? Who's the best organization?
Ganassi. I don't think there's a doubt that Ganassi is the best organization right now. Here's the thing. I think Ganassi's also been involved with NASCAR too, but I think when Penske really got involved with NASCAR and then you add on buying the track, I don't think he can't be as heavily involved in everything he was before. And I think you can kind of see that. And with where I think Ganassi puts his emphasis on his IndyCar teams.
And again, Elijah, credit to Roger Penske for allowing this to happen because he didn't have to. He could have rigged this game and gotten away with it. He could have rigged it so that it wasn't obvious and gotten away with it, and he didn't.
And I honestly think somebody who was never going to let that happen is the man we're talking about now, is Chip Ganassi. When you talk
That's
about
true.
when you talk about Roger Penske and Chip Ganassi, they're not only great businessmen, but they're great team owners. They have fought tooth and nail just about on everything you can in IndyCar. So
You
it's
think they
it's a,
like each other?
I think on a business side and a personal side, I would say yes. I mean, how could you not at least respect each other? I mean, my
Oh, I know
goodness,
they respect each other.
you're
The
looking at
question is,
two.
do they like each other?
You know what?
Well,
I bet there is. I don't think they're great, probably not necessarily great friends, but I do think we know they respect each other, and I'm gonna guess they probably do like each other. I mean, Ganassi's gotta like the fact that Penske stepped up and put his money into, the track, and then when he's done
The series.
in the series. You have to like that, and I think you probably like that guy a little bit. I'm not saying they're best buddies and are gonna go out on plan a fishing trip or anything like that together, but who knows? Maybe they are. That's the one thing you don't always really know. I think people like to have the rivalries, and I don't think they're necessarily gonna dispel that they're actually close friends outside of the track or anything.
something off of that is you see a lot of these big rivalries in motorsport, really just in Formula One with the media. I think it's just different here in IndyCar where these teams, they're not trying to really fight against each other like always it is in Formula One. They're trying to more propagate the sport as a whole, which is what I see it with Ganassi and Penske.
I agree, Elijah. I really do because at the heart of it is you have two men that are heavily invested and have been heavily invested in auto racing for decades and successful too. And they know if each
Mhm.
other is success, that helps drive the success of the series. It'd be kind of silly to be super bitter rivalries or anything. And I really think we all know there was at one time because they split Cart and USAC.
Mhm.
But I think here recently, I'm I'm sorry, that's probably before your time, Elijah, when I bring up Cart and
I
USAC.
know about it. I know about
Start
it,
in the
bro.
IRL.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cart and IRL. But
Elijah knows his history, that's for sure.
yeah. So, but I do think it's a little different today.
A lot more peace. Love that. All right.
I think the biggest rivalries are probably through the car manufacturers and the engine manufacturers, Honda and Chevy. I'm
Yeah.
gonna guess that's a huge rivalry within those corporations.
I'm also certain that Ganassi, Penske, and Andretti, even when they share engine manufacturers, still want to beat each other very
Oh no,
badly.
no, they definitely want to win. They wouldn't they wouldn't have the success they've had in IndyCar if they weren't highly competitive. You have to be highly competitive.
And it also helps that Penske's Chevy and Ganassi's Honda.
Yes.
Obviously, we know Will Power had an incident in St. Pete and is now down in 22nd in the point standing after having to retire the car in St. Pete. But he was pretty strong in the Phoenix Open testing. I guess my question for you guys is, how important is it for Power to bounce back here in Phoenix?
Well, I think it's probably more important just for him. I think give him a little bit of a confidence and I think he needs to complete the race and I know he wants to win or a podium, but I think it's probably important that maybe he gets a top 10 finish or at least a top 15 so they know that they're heading in the right direction.
I'm going to disagree with Michelle here. I think the most important thing is that they're competitive. If he doesn't finish, don't think Will Power's even thinking about a championship right now. He's thinking race to race. I think everybody is, except for probably Alex Palou and Pato O'Ward and a couple others. They're thinking race to race, and that's how you approach the season. And I think as long as Will Power is competitive this weekend in qualifying and practice in the race, I think that's the best result he can hope for. And he can win this race for sure, Elijah.
Yeah, I agree. I'm kind of in the middle of both you guys. I think he needs a top 10 to kind of feel good about where this season outlook can go. Cause I think you start these first couple races with little to no points and you're kind of already digging yourself in a hole before we get to a big stretch of races here. But then on the other side, he is with a new team. He just needs to compete. He needs to hammer out those laps, and all important, just be competitive in general because we know that Marcus Ericsson and Kyle Kirkwood are competitive as ever right now, and they showcased that in St. Pete. And then moving on, we talked a little bit about Mick Schumacher after the race, but it's now an interesting fact that he's going to be turning his first lap in the IndyCar season on something he's not used to, which is an oval.
Yeah, very interesting. I will say that the guys who have come from Formula One have adapted really well to the ovals. I can't think of many exceptions. There have been some over the years that have not adapted very well, or some that took a while. I don't think there's going to be any concern with him, but short ovals are a little different. And doing your first oval on a short oval can be tough. I think it's probably good, though, that he's going to be able to get out there and at least run some oval laps to start to get it. And also, he's run ovals in different types of cars in his life. Uh, that experience is going to help him. But yeah, it's the first at a high level for sure, oval for him. And I'm concerned, but he's a great driver. He's a champion driver for a reason.
I agree. I think the short oval is gonna make it more challenging. I'm gonna say this, I think qualification is gonna be very important to him. I think he's going to need with that short oval and everything, I think it might be better for him to start at the front of the race to where he's in less maybe congestion back there. It's gonna come very fast, and I would think qualifying would be important to that team that to start maybe first 3 rows, no deeper than 4.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. I think especially when you look at just his experience as a whole, not being able to turn a single lap in St. Pete, that means that he's missed out on at least 2 to 3 opportunities just to even go into the pit lane and hit his pit markers and practice with that team as well. And just not running laps is nerve wracking. And I assume he still have that confidence going in to St. Pete as he did for Phoenix here, but it is going to be a new ball game. And Michelle, you made a great point with the short oval as well. It's going to be really hard in traffic. Once we get off of the start and off of the cautions, it's only probably going to take 20 to 30 laps for them to be all over this racetrack. And navigating traffic is going to be a huge proponent for Phoenix, that is for sure.
Plus, in Formula One, he's not used to traffic.
Or
Once
he is
the
the
race
traffic.
starts, you're out on your by yourself most of the time.
Well, that's why I think qualifying is important to him, and if he can start up front and be behind maybe some veterans that have done it, like, even not you think Palou, but maybe even not Palou, some guys that have done even more oval experience to where he can kinda
How about Graham Rahal?
yes, like grandma,
Hopefully, Graham can be up there.
and follow them around on the line and kinda get an idea of the feel, and that I just think it's harder to do when you're back, and if you make a mistake when you're back in the pack or somebody else makes a mistake, you can get caught up in it, and because he has not turned those laps, like you said, Elijah, he needs that. He's got to have that experience.
It's good that he has a teammate in Graham Rahal who's experienced that, and I'm sure that'll help a lot too. Hopefully, the team's good enough for them to be competitive because I'm not sure they are.
Yeah, that's an interesting question as well, just alongside RLL. It just feels like a lot of unknowns right now. Not a very strong week in St. Pete, but they're definitely a team where they can come to some tracks and kind of surprise people. You talk about like the Indy Road course and some other courses they've been pretty hyper specific on just in talent wise and speed wise, which would be interesting to see in Phoenix just because we haven't seen cars there in what is it 8 years now, so it's going to be crazy.
I've gotten to the point where every time I hear Carpenter or Rahal, those teams are going to be better this year, I'm very skeptical.
Well, I will rebuttal you that where because we're going to Phoenix here where both of these ECR cars were in the top 3 in testing and both are very, very high on what they can do on short ovals. I think that's gonna be a big headline headed into this week.
Well, let's see it. Also, did you see that Mick Schumacher said don't call him a rookie? I on ovals you have to. He is definitely a rookie on ovals.
Oh, yeah. I would even argue that to be, not a rookie on an oval, you almost need to be in your 2nd season in IndyCar just to get used to the things because there is a learning curve that is very real with these drivers. There's a reason why Joseph Newgarden, Pato O'Ward, and Alex Palou are so good on the short ovals and ovals in general. It's because they've just done them and they've figured out the learning curve.
Don't forget Scott Dixon.
Scott Dixon as well. I mean, I think it
Well,
goes
he looked
without even
better than
saying at this
that.
point.
When you think of
Yeah.
the newer guys, and you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, it took Palou a little while to figure out the
Oh,
oval.
yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Talking about rookies, I know we just talked about Mick Schumacher, but we also have to talk about Dennis Hauger as well and DCR as a whole with an 8th place and a 10th place finish at St. Pete. This is going to be interesting to see how they can continue that momentum into Phoenix, where they've been interesting on ovals in the past few years, but regardless, they are definitely looking to continue this strong streak.
Well, they're both clearly very talented drivers, first of all, as much as I hate to say that about the other guy. But they did only have one true competitive pass on track between the two of them, which is odd.
Yeah, but when you think about that, when you're a rookie and that's your first race,
No, I
and to
agree.
finish strong, you want to stay out of trouble. Some of the passing was tight. I'm sure communicating. They knew that cars were brushing each other, and my guess is Dennis Hauger just wanted to have a clean race and finish as strong as he could.
Good
and
point.
Get that experience under his belt.
Yeah, 8th place is impressive. Don't get me wrong. Please, don't get me wrong. I just found that odd. I'd never seen a team have 2 top 10 finishers with one pass on track.
Well, we know that's definitely not going to happen on a short oval, and then they'll be
No, it's
they're going to be thrown into the fire pretty quick.
That's right.
Especially Dennis.
I think those two guys are real talents.
Just even thinking about it, I mean, Dennis Hauger out-qualified Alex Palou in his first ever IndyCar race. That's
insane. And a
quite
Dale
a mark.
Coyne car against the Ganassi car.
Yeah, even more. It's been crazy to see what he's done at St. Pete. But this isn't super surprising. He's somebody who dominated Indy Next last year and was pretty strong in the ovals as well. So that's going to be super fun to watch as we head into Phoenix.
And by the way, even though he's a complete prick, Grosjean is also a very talented race car driver who was one of the guys who came from Formula One who picked up ovals really quickly.
Yeah, just an incredibly fast driver in general. We've seen it all throughout his career, and even in his couple of stints through IndyCar, he's been very successful.
I'm actually kind of impressed with what he did last week, considering he'd been out of IndyCar for a whole year. I've come back to do because I was reading something and preparing for our preseason IndyCar preview we did, and there were some question marks from people who have covered IndyCar or auto racing a lot, and was wondering how he would respond after sitting out a year, how quickly it would take him to get adjusted and back in used to the cars and everything. So.
And it won't be long before he's pissing off the whole field.
No, it will not be. And if there's a chance to piss off a field, it's going to be on a short oval where these incidents are non-stopping. I think that's what makes short ovals so great in IndyCar, especially because the traffic is a huge factor of these races. And this isn't Formula One where if you're a back marker, you have to let the leaders through. You've got to fight to stay on that lead lap, and it's gonna be getting tight here, especially at Phoenix where the lap time is so quick. Michelle and Greg coming up on the race with qualifying here soon, and the race going to be on Saturday. Who are some drivers, or who is the driver you're looking to maybe take the checkered flag here in a couple days?
I'm going to tell you what, Alex Palou will always be one of my top 3 drivers every week to take the checker because he and that team are so good. I wouldn't be surprised. It's kind of been, I know, kind of a long drought for Penske to have a dominant race. I guess Newgarden did in once last year, and to finish. Maybe him, but you know what? I'll do a Scott McLaughlin. Maybe nice. I think he might be the guy to do that for Penske. And then I'm not going to count out. Well, I will say this. I also think Malukas will be looking to atone because he didn't have a real great race last week. And Malukas is a guy that if he has a good car and they have a Penske, he could be another Penske driver. I think McLaughlin or Malukas are probably who to watch for Penske. And then I'm anxious to see what Kyle Kirkwood does.
Michelle stole my thunder, Elijah. I was going to come on here. He's never won a race. He's great on short ovals and all this, but Michelle just ruined it. I'm taking David Malukas.
I like it. I'm going to have to go ahead and I'm going to pick 2 drivers, but I'm eventually going to pick one here.
Howard. Okay. All right. As long as you finally get to one, you can do it.
I look at Joseph Newgarden, who won this race in 2018, and even though he had one of the worst years he's ever had in IndyCar last year, on every single oval race, he was competitive. He was in the top
was.
5, and he was fighting for wins. But I do think there was a difference maker on short ovals, and his name is Pato O'Ward.
Good pick.
I think he really needs to challenge Alex Palou, and I think he needs to get some wins really early off the season to kind of challenge him through the whole season. It's going to be hard to match Palou. We all know that. But if there's somebody to do it, I think it can be Pato here this weekend.
I think that's a good pick, Elijah. I
That's
agree.
probably the right pick,
It
honestly.
probably is. And I think a win early like this in the second race, we also give him confidence. And if he can do that and win a couple of these races early, it takes pressure off him, and not just him, but it takes pressure off that team to have to think they're having to chase Polo every week.
Elijah, I'm psyched for this race. First oval of the year. Phoenix is back.
It is a great time to be an IndyCar fan. Coming off of week 1, we're going to Phoenix here this week, and we have Arlington next week. Seeing IndyCar on a short oval and just this time period this is in the calendar, it's just such a great time.
Oh, it is. I'm looking forward to it. I like the oval. I will say this: the angles that Fox gave us for the St. Pete race, I think that made it more enjoyable to watch than in the past. But I do like the ovals. There's just something thrilling about the ovals, and I think pit strategy becomes even more important in an oval.
Yeah, it does.
And I've gotten to the point, Elijah, Indy 500 accepted. The short ovals have become my favorite events on the whole calendar.
You look at what Milwaukee and Gateway has turned into these last couple of years, and it's been thrilling. Both Milwaukee races were super, super fun. And whenever you get Gateway, especially with all the fireworks and being a night race as well, there's just something about the constant action of a short oval that you just don't necessarily get in every race, other than the Indy 500, like you said.
Richmond, we need you back.
Yes.
Yes, any short oval, we need it. All righty, that's all we have for today. Thanks for listening, folks. And be sure to tune in on Greg and his friends tomorrow and for an IndyCar preview, and also on Saturday for an IndyCar qualifying and practice review and a little bit of race preview. And be sure to tune into our race reaction after the IndyCar madness at Phoenix. Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Elijah.
Elijah. You're the best.
Thanks so much to Elijah and Michelle for joining me once again. Thank you for listening. We really do appreciate it. Man, we love talking IndyCar. It's one of my favorite topics of all of the great Central Indiana sports topics. You do us a huge favor, share this podcast with an IndyCar fan in your life and help us spread the word that the Central Indiana Sports Report is talking about what Central Indiana sports fans are talking about every single day.